Guys, thank you all for coming. Again, it's always a pleasure for us to be able to share what we do, share a little bit of our jiu-jitsu, our experience, and how we do things. Today, I want to show you guys one of my favorite techniques and big part of my game. I'm gonna be showing you how to use the leg drag. Okay, when you're passing the guard or sweeping, I'm gonna explain to you what I have in mind when I'm fighting and I'm trying to use this technique. Okay, so as I'm teaching the seminar, I want you guys to try and focus on my thought process. More important than memorizing the step-by-step of the technique, I want you guys to really understand what I'm thinking when I'm doing it, okay? If you understand the idea, the concept, then it'll be much easier to actually learn the technique and apply it, okay? Once you understand the concept, then you can go on to memorize different variations, the step-by-step of the technique. But as you're watching the technique and you're trying to understand, you need to be asking yourself why I'm doing that. And I'm going to be trying to explain to you why I do things. Why do I grab here? Or why do I move this way? Okay? So that's what's important, to understand the reason behind the move. Okay? First, I'm going to explain on top when I'm passing the guard. If I'm trying to get to side control, I'm gonna always be facing his frame. He'll always be pushing me using his arms. He's gonna be using his legs. Okay, so for example, if I'm doing a Toriano pass, he's framing, using his arms, and he's gonna be using his legs to defend, right? If I'm doing a knee slide, if I'm trying to get his half guard, same thing, he's gonna frame, and he's gonna be able to use his knees. He's going to be pummeling his legs. He's always defending. So when I'm passing his guard, my main goal is not to get to side control. It's actually to try and avoid that situation where he's framing, where he's pushing me, or he's using his legs. So that's why I always try to place myself in this position. Okay. When I do this, when I get to the leg drag, you can see that his legs are not fighting against me. I mean, I'm actually able to push his legs out of the way. His guard is facing the other side, right? Like right now, I'm passing to my right side, and his legs are to the other side, okay? If I'm doing a Toriano pass, you can see it's different. You see how his legs are facing me? Okay, again, I'm facing his frame, and I'm facing his legs. Another thing that's really important to understand is that if I stop in his half guard, for example, when you're trying to do a knee slide, we face the situation a lot in training, sparring, right? He's able to use his legs and his hands to make me off balance. So if you think about it, every time that he's able to do something, it's because he's able to make me off balance. If he's gonna sweep me, if he's gonna catch a submission, if he's gonna take my back, anything that he does, he needs to make me off balance, right? So he can attack me. And he's only able to do that if he's able to use his legs. He needs to use hooks. He needs to hook the leg, make me off balance. He needs to step on me and make me off balance. He can use his hook behind me, push me, make me off balance, right? So if I focus on placing myself in this position, again, he's not able to attack, he's not able to make me off balance. Okay? So I'm trying to show you guys the benefit of placing yourself in this position. Because this is not side control. I did not pass his guard yet. I'm just beginning to build the pass or the back attack. Okay? So I want you guys to see this as your first step. When you accomplish this position, the leg drag, then you're gonna begin to climb up to side control, climb up to the back, and eventually to the submission, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys a simple drill, okay, that you guys are gonna do. So you learn how to place yourself in this position. I'm gonna use a common situation, like sometimes we find ourselves in the knee slide position, like I was showing, okay? He's using reverse de la riva, or he's using half guard. And then you have the option to keep going through the half guard, trying to pass, in which case you're gonna face the situation I was just showing, frame, the person kicking you, pushing you, making you off balance, or you have a different approach where you start moving back and around the leg, and first you place yourself in the leg drag, and then you start moving forward. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So if I find myself here during the fight, okay, even if he's not using his hook, maybe you're just here, maybe you have one knee down, you know, we use different postures. So it doesn't matter which posture you use. You don't want to be with both knees on the mat, okay? Because then you're going to get stuck in the closed guard. So you have to have at least one knee up. So if I have one knee up, I can have one knee up, one knee down. Can be posting the leg, can post the leg like this, however you feel more comfortable. Okay? Instead of trying to go through his guard, okay, that's the detail. I'm going to go around his leg and then under his leg. Okay, so I'm going to hug his leg. Okay, you can hug. You can make a grip here, you can grab the pants, you can grab the belt. My goal in doing this is to make sure that he's not using his feet. Okay? That's another concept you need to be thinking about. The first one I was trying to explain is the benefit of the leg drag. Pushing the guard to that side, making sure his guard, which is his biggest asset, his legs right now, right? He's on bottom. It's facing the wrong side. I'm passing this way, the guard's facing that way. Okay? And the second concept is making sure that he doesn't use his feet. He wants to use his feet. He's stronger, he has more leverage, he's more powerful if he can do that. Right? Think like he's stepping me, he makes me off balance. He pushes my arm away, he catches a submission. Okay? If I can make sure that he doesn't use his feet, I push his feet down, and I force him to use his knees, that's good for me. I prefer him using his knees. He's going to be weaker. It will be easier for me to stay in good balance, good base, because he has less leverage. He's less dangerous. Does that make sense? Okay, so keep that in mind. You're trying to walk to the leg drag, and you're also trying to make sure you're not fighting this. How many times we're on top, we're passing, and we're like stuck in De La Riva. He's using his feet. He's using the De La Riva hook. He's stepping on me. Collar and sleeve. He's stepping. Spider guard. Try to see, visualize how every time that he's able to attack, that he's in a good position, he's stepping on me. Even that half guard situation. Look, again. He's stepping on me right here, or he's using his hook. Okay, so bottom line, I don't want him to do that. See how I try to stay, I like to stay on the inside of his guard, of his leg. So he's not hooking me, he's not using this leg. And on this side, we're gonna trap. Okay, so you see how now he's using his knee, he's not stepping on me. Once I do that, I lock his leg in place. I like to have my head down. So on one side I have my arm blocking, on the other side I have my head. So his knees pointing up. I'm gonna lift my hips and I'm gonna walk myself around his leg. So instead of trying to grab his leg and do a leg drag, trying to muscle the position, I'm gonna just lock his leg in place and I'm gonna walk myself to the position. Much easier, less work, less resistance from him. Okay, because every time that I pull his leg, he's gonna pull back. He's gonna resist. So we're gonna be bumping heads. Okay, I don't wanna do that. So I'm gonna go here, okay, I lock. You can grab the other leg just so you can secure the position. You're gonna go hips up, and now you're gonna start walking yourself around the leg. And you enter your knee. So see how my knee is shelving his leg? Make sure he's not moving. Okay, I'm actually controlling his hips. So if you're able to get to this position, you don't want to move too much now. He's gonna try to explode and escape. I want to stay on his hips. If you watch my fights, and you'll see me in this position all the time. From top, bottom, I always end up here. And I take my time stabilizing on the hips, because normally, people are trying to struggle to escape, like they don't want to give side control, they end up giving their back. So it's a very good way of, like, you know, you push your opponent to make that mistake of trying to scramble and escape, and you take the back. Okay? So one more time. Keep it simple. Just get to this position. Lock the top knee. Okay, you don't want to get stuck on this hook. So try to pummel this leg to the inside. Good grips so you don't get pulled into any bad position. You have to go head down and hips up. If you have head up and hips low, then you're going to be very slow. You can't walk to that side. Okay, it's hard to move. So I have to go head down and hips up. Now I can do little steps like shuffle. Don't go too far. You're not trying to go to side control. Remember that. Okay, that's the first concept. You're trying to stay on the hips. So once I pass his foot, I just enter my knee. I want to pass over this knee shield here, and then I'm going to stabilize right here, controlling his hips. Okay. So let's do that. I just want you guys to kind of like feel the position. Place yourself in that knee slide. Trap the leg. Focus on the concept of keeping the feet down, so you're not fighting against your opponent's feet. You need to be fighting against the knee shield, and then you're going to walk yourself not to side control, but to the leg drag. Okay, just go there, feel the position. We do for a few minutes. I bring you guys back. I add more details. I can answer some questions as well. Okay, on three. 1, 2. Okay, let me answer some questions first. So some of you guys were asking me, okay, but if I'm far away, should I enter that position? Should I go to knee slide and then try to do the leg drag? I mean, you don't have to. If he's on bottom here, and the guard is open and you have distance, best case scenario, you can just walk into the leg drag, right? That would be the first option, okay? So, for example, let's say he's playing guard like that and I have distance. I could just walk into the leg drag. He has no grips. I go right under his leg. But let's be honest, it's not gonna be that easy, right? More often, you're gonna find yourself somehow stuck in the guard. Like maybe he did a good guard pull, he's pulling the collar, pulls you into the guard. So I end up in this situation, right? And why we end up here? Because every time that he pulls guard, I need to bring my knee up. I don't wanna end up in close guard. And I don't wanna go both knees down because again, I end up in close guard or in a submission. So that's why we always end up here. Sometimes it will be like this, post in the leg. Sometimes it will be here. Sometimes it will be more like this. But you will be in this situation where one knee is up and you're facing the guard, okay? So to answer that question, yes, if possible, you want to walk straight to this position. That's the best case scenario. You never deal with the legs. You're never like in a situation where you're in danger. Okay, you're good. But you will find yourself here, and you gotta be prepared for that, okay? So just to recap, now that you guys were able to drill and kind of like get a feeling of the position, you see how when you walk yourself to the leg drag, and at the same time, you're focusing on keeping the feet down, you feel safer, right? You feel like that you're able to maintain your balance. You're not dealing with the legs too much. The person's not kicking you, making you off balance. Okay, it's very frustrating when you're on top. You're trying to do something, you're building your position, and then the person kicks you, pushes you, uses a hook to lift you up, and then you have to let go everything and you have to post, right? Or you have to grab the collar and then they catch you in a triangle or something. So all those bad positions, they initiate like that when you're off balance. Okay, so that's why I really want you guys to understand the idea behind what we're doing. What's more important for me is to teach you guys the concept, because even if we had a 3-hour seminar, there's not enough time to show you all of the details and the step-by-step of the position, right? That's something that you're gonna have to do on your own. You're gonna have to go and study. You go online, or you can ask your instructor. You can spend time. You can put that time and the effort to learn all those details. What's more important now for me, with the time that I have, is to open up your eyes to a new idea, a new way of doing things. So if I can show you the concept and it clicks and it sparks that interest in you, then you can go on and search for more on your own. Okay, so again, just focus on the idea, like, okay, why am I pushing the feet down? Like the big idea, the big concept I'm trying to teach. Why is it important to walk to the leg drag? Okay, and then you will figure out many different ways to do it. Okay, so the drills, the actual techniques, are just an example of how to apply the concept. Okay, so we did from here, from this position, the knee slide, trapping the top leg, and walking to the leg drag. Another situation that happens a lot that you can do is when you're here, and instead of like having the knee up like this, or maybe you are trying to trap the knee and the person is doing a good job defending, sometimes they put a low knee shield. That happens a lot, right? So let's say I'm here trying to trap his leg, and he's realizing that something is coming, that I'm preparing a position, and then in order to break my position or make me off balance, he puts a low knee shield and he's pushing. Okay. Now I'm not able to walk myself to the leg drag on that side, because once the knee is pointing down like this, his foot's hooking my back. So I'm not able to walk. So if I'm walking that way, I get stuck on his hook, you see? That's why we need to keep the knee pointing up. If the knee's pointing up, then I can go around his foot. Look. Does that make sense? So if the knee points up, the foot's going down. So then I can lift my hips and walk around. If the knee's down for some reason, maybe he's doing a good job, now I can't, right? Well, I can attack the other leg. Okay? So when that happens, we're gonna be in the same situation. We're gonna control the bottom leg now. And I'm gonna start shuffling to that side. So when I shuffle, I'm gonna end up here, sitting on this leg here now. Now I do the same thing, but to that side. So I'm gonna trap his leg. You can grab the pants, or you can just hug. I like grabbing the pants or the belt. It gives me a good grip. It locks the leg in place. And now same thing, I'm gonna go head down. You see, I use my other hand to tap on his knee and push his knee in place. And I place my head next to his knee. And then I'm gonna walk to that side. So it's the same leg work, the same thing that I did, okay? But now because he's putting the top leg down using a low knee shield, I'm gonna scoop the bottom leg, bring the knee up, and walk around, okay? I'm gonna do a few times without explaining, just so you guys can see it. So low knee shield. Look. I'm gonna do the other one. I'm gonna do the first one and then the second one. The first one and the second one, so you guys can just compare the techniques, okay? So you guys can see in both cases, I'm keeping his feet down. I'm focusing on making sure I don't lose my balance. He's not able to use his feet, his hooks. Therefore, I don't lose my balance. He's not pushing, kicking, lifting me up. I'm not trying to go to side control. I think that's one of the most important things to remember. If you're trying to go to side control, you overdo it. Like when you go, you overcommit. A lot of times it feels like you're rolling. That's why, vai para baixo, kick. Sometimes when we're passing, especially when we have a outside grip, like a leg drag or a turn on the pass, if you overcommit to side control, it feels like you're rolling like this. You lose your balance. You're overdoing it. You're passing the hip line too much. Okay? Lose your balance. You might not end up on bottom, but you lose the pass. So you're almost in side control. And then, boom, he's able to square up. Okay? So you can see that every time I do it, it's like a half circle. I go halfway, and then I come back. Look again, I'm gonna do one more time. So you see how I'm not going past this point here. I don't pass his hips. I'm actually going halfway, like going forward halfway, and then I come back towards his hips. Because when you're coming back, or every time you're passing, even if you're not coming back, let's say you're going to side control, the person will try to hip out and face you, right? He will do that, or he's gonna give his back. Let's say he's not giving his back. He doesn't want to risk at all. He's playing safe. When he does that, if I'm moving to side control, there will be a huge gap. Think about the situation right now in your mind. You're passing. You're getting to the side. The person is trying to escape. He's doing a hip escape. And I'm moving to side control. Am I going further away from his hips, or am I going towards his hips? Moving away from his hips, right? If I'm going to side control. And if you play guard and you have good guard rotation, you understand that if there's that big of a gap, you can replace, you can pummel the leg. So another concept is placing yourself one step ahead when you're passing, or any move, but right now we're talking about passing the guard, okay? And when you do the leg drag, you're doing that. So I'll explain how. Look, go on barnacle. If I'm passing and I move to side control, we're even. Look, I move to side control, he's facing me. I put pressure, he moves his hips away. I try to do something else, he pummels the leg. So it's like almost like, I do something, he does something. I do something, he does something. It's hard to get ahead like that. When you use the leg drag as your main position, as the beginning of your attack, you're actually setting yourself up for success because you place yourself one step ahead. Why? Because I turn his guard. Remember I said in the beginning, you turn the guard to the other side. Okay? So when I do this, making him face the wrong side, placing his guard to that side, and I'm passing this way. When I move, after I stabilize on his hips, remember, you don't need to rush. But when I move to side control or to the back, if I go over his arm, hugging here, I'm gonna go to side control, yes? If I go underhook, I'm going to his back. So in both cases, I'm gonna have to eventually move forward, right? When I do that, I know he's gonna try to escape. He's gonna try to face me. But he's gonna be one step behind because the guard is facing the wrong side. So he's gonna have to do 2 hip escapes to try and escape instead of just one, okay? So I'm right here. Let's say I move to side control. He's gonna do 1 hip escape just to go on his back, and now he needs 1 more to start facing me. So that means he needs to move 2 times before he can do something. But what I do, when he moves the first time, I follow him, okay? So if I'm here, and I start moving, and he does the hip escape, I go back and I follow his hips. He tries to escape again, look, I follow his hips. So I never allow him to get back to a position where we're even. I force him to be 1 step ahead, 1 step behind, okay? So that's why he's not able to face me and start defending his guard, and a lot of times people will turn and give their back, okay? So that's something like, this idea of like being 1 step ahead can be applied from any situation, standing, when you're playing guard, when you're trying to take the back. But I feel like it's super easy to see from the leg drag situation. That's why I like to use the leg drag as an example for this idea, okay? So keep that in mind. Every time you get here, you're ahead. You're one step ahead. It will be really hard for the person on bottom to do something, to replace the guard or to even face you. Every time that they move, don't allow them to square up with you, to go back to be even. Okay? He moves one time, look, I put him back in that position. Okay? And then once I set up good grips over his shoulder, hugging the head or underhook to the back, then I move. Okay? So look how I'm gonna do the transition now just so you guys can see. I don't go from here to the side and then I wanna hug the head. I see that happening, I see this mistake a lot where people rush from going from the hips to the head and then they end up on the side but they don't have grips, then they lose the position. So take your time where you are in the best position, like you're one step ahead, you're controlling the hips, you're not in danger, there's no need to rush. So adjust your grips, and then when you move, you're not gonna lose it, okay? So see now how I'm gonna hug the head first, then move, get the underhook first, then move. So you see how I take advantage of that position that I have achieved. I know I'm safe, I know he's in trouble, there's no way for him to escape because he's facing the wrong side. I make sure I get good grips, and then when I move, it's so hard for him to escape, okay? So right now, like before we do any other drilling, just want to see if you guys have any questions. More important than trying to ask, again, the step-by-step of the technique, think about the concepts I have been trying to teach you guys. If you have any questions about that, then you can just raise your hand. Here's the mic.
So when going for the position, where do you want your shoulder in regards to the posture? You want to go low, like to the top of the foot, or on the middle of the shin?
Well, it changed throughout the past. At the beginning of the position, you guys can see how I had my shoulder against his shin because I was facing that knee shield. Remember the knee shield, I hug, I place my head next to his knee, and then my shoulder is pushing his shin, pushing his foot against his hips, keeping his feet down. But then after I get to that leg drag, you can see how my shoulder is going up to his chest, okay? That's a good question because now I can show you guys when you stabilize the position, you don't want to be too low where you're almost like resting your head on your opponent's stomach because it's just too easy for the person on bottom to do almost like a bench press and push you away. Okay? So the higher that you go with your head and your shoulder, the harder it will be for the person on bottom to escape. Okay? Because they'll have less push. They'll be in a much weaker position. Okay? Go on, Barnacle. Segurei. So if I rest my head on his stomach, look, it's very easy for him to just go like this and push, right? Like you're stronger if you're doing a bench press compared to when you're picking up a weight from here and trying to move this way. So look now how I'm gonna place my head and my shoulder up higher. So you see how I'm higher up? I'm still controlling the hips. Press the mic here. I'm still controlling the hips using my legs. I don't move my lower body. Okay, my legs are controlling his hips. I'm in the same position. But I'm beginning to prepare my transition from the hips to side control or his back. Okay, so this is a very good question because I feel like a lot of times when we're fighting, and not just with the leg drag, you know, with this technique, but when we get to a good position, we feel that we deserve a break, right? You work so hard to get here and then boom, you kind of like, you rest your head on your opponent's stomach and you think you're gonna take a little break and then you're gonna move on. But that's when a lot of times we end up losing the position because you're almost getting to a good position, but you took a break too soon, right? He explodes, he push hard and you lose the position, you have to go back to the beginning. It's very frustrating, you have to restart everything, okay? So it's important to realize that we should not take that break before we actually have a very good control over our opponent, okay? Of course I want to take a break, but I'm going to do that when I move to side control or to the back, or if I'm going to stop in the leg drag because maybe I'm super tired and I need a break. I place my head in a position where he's not going to be able to get space, okay? So every time you're passing, you need to think about hiding your head. Okay, right now, I'm hiding my head in my face, above his shoulder, next to his head, or under his armpit. That's what I like to do. When I go above his shoulder, I know he's gonna be weak, trying to grab my head and push. He doesn't have a good angle, he doesn't have a leverage to push. And when you go under the armpit, fixing the hair first. When you go under the armpit, I like this variation a lot because it's a good setup for a transition to the back. When you have the head under the armpit and you begin your pass, a lot of times people always think, okay, if I turn away from my opponent, I'm giving my back, but they make the mistake of thinking that it's okay to turn towards your opponent. But if you have the head under the armpit and the person on bottom turns towards you, they're actually giving the back, okay? So it's gonna look like this. He's turning towards me, but I help him to turn even more. And I end up stepping over and doing the transition going behind him, okay? So, trying to show you guys a lot, don't wanna make you feel overwhelmed, but what's important to remember is that the head placement is very important, okay? So having your head hidden from your opponent, so your opponent's not pushing your face, it's very important. You place above the shoulder or under the armpit, okay? And also, again, trying to think ahead and, okay, you like taking the back, so it makes sense to place the head under the armpit. It's gonna lead to the back. You like the mount, place your head above the shoulder because when you move to side control, it'll be easier to go to mount. So thinking ahead and understanding the difference, you know, having your head above the shoulder, under the armpit, will tell you how you should go, where you should go, okay? So, you have a question? Let's use the mic so everybody can hear it.
All right, when I love the leg drag game
Hold
for
it.
you, for you actually. So, when I do the leg drag, I saw something in your webpage, but you control right here, not right here.
Mm-hmm.
You control here and do this, right?
Yes.
So, because I can make him elevate
Yeah. Yeah, I can explain the difference between the grips. Again, it's like the most important is you being in that position and having that advantage over your opponent, being one step ahead. Now, there's so many different variations. You can use the underhook, you can use the overhook, you can underhook the other side, you can place the head above the shoulder, under the armpit on the other side. You can hold the pants like you were showing right now, pants or belt, okay? So it really depends what you are trying to accomplish. So in that case, if you're trying to stack the person like that, normally you're forcing them to turtle so you can go to the back, so you can slide that bottom hook in, okay? But also sometimes it's not about what you want to do, it's like what they're giving you, right? We always, our first option is to do what we want. Right? That's fine. We need to do that. But sometimes it's not working. You're not in the right position. You don't have the right angle. The person is just, for some reason, doing something that's maybe without knowing, defending the position that you want to do. Okay? So then you have to realize that, and instead of trying to force something, you try to see other options. I think that's our style of jiu-jitsu. That's how we always approach the game. Like we have a game plan, we have the things that we like to do, but that's why we focus more on big concepts rather than trying to go step by step forcing a technique, because it's not so much, not every time about, you know, I'm gonna do exactly what I want, what I have in mind. It's more like understanding that whole situation, the different options that you have, the different styles of passing that you can use in that situation, and then you see what your opponent's doing, how he's reacting, the way he fights, and that's gonna change your approach. Like sometimes I want to pass from far away, but the guy's pulling me in, so then I need to do something else. Okay. So to answer your question in a very straight way, I use the grip to lift the hips, force the person to turn to turtle, and I can take the back. But I just want to use this opportunity to make you guys think about, okay, it's not so much about me forcing a position that I want. It's more like understanding the different options that I have. So then even if my first option is not working, I have different resources, I have different options. Okay, it's tough when you depend on something. Like, okay, I fight on top, but I can only use the over-under pass. Then like you're limiting yourself, right? Your game as a whole is not complete. Okay, so I'm not saying that you have to be the best at everything. Like, I don't like to do takedowns. But like, I have a few takedowns that I can use if I have to. I know how to defend takedowns. I developed a good way of doing a lot of counter attacks when people are trying to take me down. So people are trying to take me down, I can take the back, I can get the choke, I can get the arm bar. So I'm not saying you have to be good at everything, but it's very important to have the understanding that you won't be able to force your position every time. So understanding the whole situation and how you can be more in control of the situation and how you make sure you're safe in the position, like I was explaining about keeping the feet down. Those things are very important because it will give you guys more trust in the position, you'll be more confident, and it will give you more options to succeed. Okay? Now, I want to show another idea that I think I want to make sure I show that before we finish. I don't even know what time it is, but before we finish, I want to make sure I show that. Is the idea that you should not label a technique top or bottom, this technique, it's a pass, or this one's a sweep. That's not how I see the positions. I'm always trying to not label the techniques that way because I feel it limits the way you think. Like you start thinking about the leg drag, it's a pass. Then you only see the position on top. Then maybe you're playing bottom and then that technique doesn't come to your mind because you have the habit of thinking that that's just a pass, right? Because you labeled the technique a pass. So for pretty much every technique, I try to be more open-minded and just push myself to try and find different ways of using the technique from different angles. Okay, so I'm gonna show the leg drag again because I chose the leg drag, which is a big part of my game, as the technique and the concept that I would teach. But I think it's super easy to visualize the idea of seeing the position from different angles when you use the leg drag. Okay, so you can do the leg drag when you're on bottom. It's not a pass. It's a technique, it's a concept, but it's not necessarily a pass. Okay, so you can use the same concept of being safe, not having to fight against the guard, putting yourself one step ahead when you're playing guard before you come up. Okay, so for example, if it goes on top, and I'm on bottom, I'm playing guard. If I sweep go, then I'll have to make a decision, right? I sweep him. Let's say I use a basic sweep. A tripod sweep or a kit sweep. A very traditional way of doing it is like, okay, I take the sweep and I come up, right? I can come up. If I have pressure pads, I come up trying to put pressure into his guard, getting to half guard. If I'm more like a speed passing type of guy, I like to move a lot. I like to do tornado pass. I will step back, trying to hold the leg and push the legs out of the way and pass it on. But that's very traditional. Like you make the person off balance, you sweep, you come up. Right? One thing I do a lot, I did like throughout my competition career, and I still like do now when I'm training and I teach this a lot, is applying the idea that a technique that you do on top can be done from bottom. There's techniques you do on bottom can be done on top. Okay? Leg drag is a great example. So look, if I sweep him, let's say he's standing again. Boom, I sweep him. Before I come up, if I do the same thing, if I start placing his leg across my body, and then I come up, I end up in the same position, okay? So I don't have to stress, to worry about being stuck in close guard, be stuck in collar and sleeve, in spider guard. I don't have to be stuck in a bad position where we're exchanging techniques. He's attacking me, I'm attacking him. He's getting a grip, I break the grip. I get a grip, he breaks my grip. It's like back and forth. We're both getting tired. We're fighting really hard. We're going head to head, right? That's what I'm trying to avoid. That's the bigger picture, the broader concept. It's like I'm trying not to be in a dogfight. Like I don't want to be like going against him like head to head for no reason. I'm trying to find a smarter way of doing things, right? If I can outsmart him and not have to be fighting head to head, it's better for me. Okay? I can save more energy. I'm safer. There's less risk of ending up in a submission. Okay? So I'm going to do a few different variations where you see how I put him down. I do sweep him. I put him down. But I set up my position before coming up. So I'm not going to come up and then try to do the leg drag. I'm going to do the leg drag when he's down before I come up. Okay? So, let's see. So, just like I did, like you can do a basic sweep, leg drag, and come up. Right? Eu vou fazer X guard. I can go X guard, look, X guard. Instead of sweeping the X guard, you can do the same thing, look. Come up in the leg drag. De la riva agora. De la riva, look. You can just come up, or you can go under the leg, and leg drag. You can get more creative. You can see different doors opening up. You see I did like 3 different sweeps from 3 different positions. So I end up in the exact same position, okay? And I feel like when you start doing this, okay, in the beginning it might be hard, right? Like, because maybe it's something new, something that you don't do. But once you understand the position and you begin to feel more comfortable, everywhere that you go, you see the position. And it becomes more fun. It's very entertaining because you start being more creative. Like it gives you the opportunity to be more creative. Okay? And that's something that I love about Jiu-Jitsu, is the idea that you can always do something new, right? You can always develop your game. You can do something that's fun, that's new. You don't need to do the same technique over and over again. If you can use that, that's fine, but it's nice when you're able to add new things to your game. Give your game a fresh look, right? It feels good, it feels fun. If you feel like sometimes you're training hard, like you're being consistent, you're studying, but sometimes you feel you're stuck. Your game's kind of like stuck in the same spot, okay? Because sometimes it's not about just doing the same technique over and over again. It's like I'm gonna drill that technique that I always do, but I'm gonna drill harder. Or I'm gonna, win more rounds using the same technique. So you're getting better, but you're getting better at doing the same thing that you always do. Okay? So I think it's important to try and do different things, new things. Okay? That's how you really you're able to evolve your game. It becomes again more fun for you. Like maybe if jiu-jitsu is a little bit boring, like you're always feeling that you're not progressing, you're stuck in the same spot for many years or months. Okay? Maybe that's what you need. You need this idea of not labeling the techniques, bottom or top. You need different ways of adding something new to your game. Okay, I think that's very important. And I feel like you can start with this. This is a good example. Okay. So let's drill. I want to show more things, but I don't want to talk too much, and you forget what you have to do. So let's drill. Like right now, let's keep it super simple. Again, it needs to be more open, broad. Okay, you don't need to be very specific. You don't need to copy exactly what I did. now for you is just to understand the idea and be able to place yourself in the position. It needs to click. It needs to make sense. If that makes sense, then you're going to be able to go on and study even more. Okay? So right now, you can do any sweep. So you sweep the person's going to fall in front of you. If he falls, that means I can lift his leg, right? If you have your hips down on the mat, it will be easy to lift your feet and go under the legs. So you just need to lift one leg and slide yourself under in that leg drag position. Once you drag the leg across your body, then you can get up. Okay, let's try that. On 3. 1, 2. Okay, guys, look, we have to finish soon. I'm gonna try to show you guys some stuff before we do and answer some questions. So you guys can see we spent some time doing on top, so you understand how you can do the leg drag when you're passing the guard. We used the knee slide situation as an example, but you can use from open guard. You can use from any position that you are in the fight and you're on top. You can always push the foot down and walk yourself to the leg drag. Okay, there's always the option of going forward through the guard, okay, and facing the frame and the legs and the pummeling and the kick, right? And there's always the option to kind of like move back and around the leg and shelf that leg. Okay, so you just need to look for it. If you're intentional about it, you're trying to find it during the fight, you will find it. Okay, of course you need to study and drill and put the time and the effort to learn all these different options, but you can find it. Okay, then we did on bottom. Anytime, any sweep that you're doing, you put the person down. Again, you can make the choice to just get up and face the guard. Okay, you face the spider guard, collar and sleeve, X guard, half guard, 50-50, warm guard, whatever guard. Okay, or you put the person down and then you place yourself in the leg drag before you get up. So if you think about it, it's almost like you're passing the guard when you're on bottom, right? Before you get up, I sweep in, I don't get up, I do the leg drag when I'm on bottom, then when I get up, I don't have to deal with the guard. I'm already on the hips, controlling my opponent's hips, adjusting my grips so I can move to side control or to the back. Okay? And a lot of times, like that situation will also lead you to the submission, right? Sometimes it happens a lot to me where I do the leg drag, it doesn't matter if I'm passing or if I'm sweeping, and then the person is pushing on my neck. Like he's pushing here, trying to stiff arm and escape. And then you can transition to the arm bar. Okay? One of my favorite arm bars of all time, this one. Okay? Happens all the time. People don't want to give the points. They push. You can jump arm bar. Okay? And another thing I wanted you to see, so we did top, we did bottom, and you can start using it as a counter. Okay? Sometimes you're on top, and people will sweep you. So I'm here, he does like tripod sweep. He sweeps me. Again, I have options. I can try and fight to go back up, right? The problem with that is that since he's the one that attacked me, I'm defending, when I'm trying to get back up, in a sense, I'm wasting time, right? I'm not doing anything. I'm just trying to go back to my position. But he's not wasting time. He's doing his next move. So normally I'm coming up and then he's gonna, attack a burn ball, or he's gonna load me on top of him and sweep me. Or you're coming up and then you fall into a triangle or something. So the point is, you're wasting time just trying to get back to your position, and your opponent is going to his second attack, if you will. Okay, that's a problem. You're behind. You're one step behind, right? Very important to realize that. The other option is, which is not good, he sweeps me and then I accept. Oh, my guard's very good. Then I accept being bottom. I don't like that because, again, it's a scenario where I'm behind. He's one step ahead. I don't like fighting one step behind. Like, I want to be one step ahead every time. Okay? So I encourage you guys not to do that. Not to think it's okay to be one step behind. Oh, I have time. I have like 3 more minutes, or it's okay. I can figure out later. No, you don't want to build your game like that. It's too risky. Okay, so you can use this concept of the leg drag as a way to counter attack, so you're not one step behind. Okay, so let's say I'm passing, and he does a sweep. Instead of trying to waste time getting on top or accepting the points, I can use my grips and my hooks to lift. Look how I'm using my hook and my grip to lift his leg, get under the leg, and then when I get back on top, I'm in the leg drag. So that's what I meant, that if you're really intentional about it, if you're looking for different ways of doing it, you will find it, okay? So he's doing a sweep, he swept me, and then every time that he sweeps me, for him to go on top, he's gonna have to pull his legs back, doing like a technical stand to get up, right? He needs to stand on his feet, okay? But if I'm falling, I realize I'm falling, and I catch the leg, he's not able to do the technical stand. And then since I have the grip, now I can cross his leg, right? Push his leg across my body, and now I'm the one attacking, okay? So you're counter-attacking. Okay, I was able to flip the table. I was in a bad position, now I'm in a good one. Okay? So look one more time, super simple. I mean, we're trying to do in a very simple way just so you guys can visualize it, but then you guys can go on to different scenarios, different sweeps, and find a way to do the leg drag. So let's say he did a De La Riva sweep. Same thing, look. I can use the grip, use my hooks to stop him from coming on top. Okay, some people will say, oh, it's so easy for him to get up. It's not easy now because I'm holding his leg. Okay, so his bottom leg is stuck in the De La Riva. I'm hooking his leg here, and I have this hook here holding the top leg. So for him to stand up, he needs to pull the bottom leg and do a technical stand. Okay, or if I let go this leg, he's gonna turn to that side, and then that becomes the bottom leg, and he does a technical stand. Right? Pull the leg back. Oh. But if I catch the leg, and I'm sitting on this leg here, he's stuck there, there's no fast way for him to get up. Okay? It'll be faster for me to just go under the leg. I just need to change the angle. But catch the leg, I just change the angle. And I get up. Okay? So the faster that you realize this, the easier it will be. So like, if I become good at this game, if I understand the idea, I drill, I have good timing, I don't need to overthink the position in the middle of the situation, then as he makes me lose my balance and as I'm falling, I'm already getting the grip, I'm already changing the angle, I'm already passing under the leg. I don't need to wait for him to sweep me and I fall here, then I catch the leg. It can be like done as I'm falling, okay? That would be your goal, right? He begins the sweep, you're trying to defend, you don't want to risk. But then if you fall as you're falling, you counter really fast, okay? So I think, we don't have much more time, but I think you guys were able to get a taste of like how we use the leg drag. It's a very, very important technique for us, or not even like a technique, but a concept that we use every time we're fighting, top, bottom, so many different positions. It's a huge asset for our jiu-jitsu. It doesn't matter if you're tall, short, heavy, light. It doesn't matter, like your body type, okay? Anybody can understand the concept, understand the thought process, the idea of the technique. And yes, you do need to make some adjustments so it fits your jiu-jitsu, your style, your body type, but it can be done, like any technique, okay? What do you need? You need to study. There's no way to get this idea and bring it to your game if you don't put the time and the effort, right? So you need to invest in yourself. So if you like this, you're like, man, this is cool. It's a good idea. It can make my jiu-jitsu better. It can add, if it's just a little bit, it can add to my jiu-jitsu. And my goal is to each and every day be a little bit better, okay? You don't need to be a superstar overnight, but we should all have the goal of getting better each and every day. That should be the mindset. You step onto the mat, you go to your school. It doesn't matter if you're a competitor, if your goal is to be a black belt world champion. That doesn't matter. Okay, that's all cool, but in the end, we are all trying to use jiu-jitsu as a tool to make ourselves better, on and off the mats. Okay, so that's just the mindset that we have to have. So if this is your goal, like, I'm pretty sure you can invest a little bit more in yourself, study a little bit more, you know, ask more questions in class, and drill a little bit after class. Like, just have that mindset that you don't need to be stuck where you are. You can get better. Okay. So I think if we all have this mindset, this approach, then we're gonna be building each other up. We can help each other up. Okay? So thank you so much, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed the seminar. I wish we had more time to show you guys more, be able to break down the techniques and the concepts even more. But again, I think more importantly than any technique or any concept is just this idea of being thirsty to getting better. I want that's in the end, that's my goal. I want you guys to kind of like have a taste of what we do, how we study, how we approach jiu-jitsu, how we teach. And I want you guys to go on about your day with this desire to get better. To like, you know, I want to study more, I want to get better in jiu-jitsu, in life in general, in everything that I do. So if somehow I was able to create that impact in you today, I did my job. Thank you, guys.
And if you guys want to keep learning like this, come visit us at AOJ.